hard luck really on DJ Carey, but he was carrying a groin injury. It would surely have affected his pace. Won by Martin Hanamy. Roy Mannion to help. Young Brian Whelan to come down and win this one for Offaly, and win it well. Inspirational play once again by young Whelan.
One of the stops as Brian and Vinny make their rounds through Tullamore takes them to the vicinity of famed O'Connor Park, the headquarters of Gaelic games in the town and one of Offaly's county grounds. Here Whelan helps make the final deliveries before heading back to base and off to training. The day has ended too for Pat Cleary. He's going off duty and heading back to base. And when he pulls in the squad car for this meeting, you can be sure he doesn't have a parking ticket in mind for the windscreen of the truck he spotted on his way in. Hardly anything's as important as hurling this week in the heart of the Midlands.
How are you doing? That's good. That's good. Thanks very much. Fine, man, yeah. Are you done it in style? Not bad, not bad.
Well, gentlemen, like the balls in the week that's in it, it wouldn't be surprising if the talk is about hurling around here.
Oh, plenty of that, plenty of it, yeah.
I'd say there is. I was just noticing, Pat, this will probably be the only time this week that you'll be loyal to the blue and navy.
Well, I don't think this kind of blue and navy would be that welcome in Croke Park on Sunday. It won't be needed either, I'd say.
Certainly not on an Offaly man anyway, it won't. Pat, you're one of the more experienced members of this Offaly team, but you had one of your better performances against Kilkenny in the quarterfinal, in the semi-final. That must have given you a lot of satisfaction.
Well, under the circumstances, the fact that everybody played so well, it wasn't that hard to play well on the day. I think that the whole team kind of performed so well, it made it much easier, especially for forwards, if everybody's playing well, you know.
You know Dublin hurling fairly well, of course, because you were stationed up there for many years. You're back here in Offaly again now. It must make life easier for you in terms of training and so forth.
It probably is a little bit easier for training, all right, especially this time of the year when if you're stationed in Dublin, you'd be training 2 or 3 nights a week and travelling down, it means a lot of work, but it is a bonus to be stationed in Offaly. Yeah.
Well, you're well used to the training sessions. The man beside you, Brian Whelan, it's all becoming something new to you, Brian, as one of the new members of the team. But you had a fantastic performance against Kilkenny.
Well, everything just happened to go right on the day, and as Pat says, like, it was a great team performance, and when everything goes well, everyone seems to play well.
But nobody expected you to beat Kilkenny so convincingly. Did you expect it yourselves?
Well, I'd say going up on the bus, or even a few days beforehand, that we knew we would beat Kilkenny all right. The feeling was good in the camp. I suppose the 16 points or whatever, no one was really expecting that, but in the end it was a great Offaly performance, and we're looking to improve on that Sunday.
Before we go, we must have a word with this man here, Vinny Ware, sub on the successful Offaly team of 85. How do you think they'll go on Sunday?
I suppose after Dublin beating Wexford, I think Offaly have it all to do, you know. Like, I mean, Dublin will be strong, they'll be fit, and I don't think Offaly will underestimate them in any way, you know, like, especially after last year against Antrim, and they'll have it all to do, definitely.
Well, I know, like thousands of other Offaly people are going up to the match on Sunday. Yeah. You've just come back from Italy supporting Jack's army, yeah. But on Sunday I suppose it'll be ole for Offaly.
We still have the tricolour out, yeah. We'll be there supporting them. That's it.
At O'Connor Park, the team's led out by their goalkeeper, Jim Troy, for another session to get these champions ready for the challenge from Dublin, who are newcomers to the final. Long-time selector Andy Gallagher has been associated with all the successes, and he explains how Offaly have stayed at the top.
At the moment we have 8 lads on the senior panel who have won All-Ireland medals over the last 4 years, and they've been introduced at various stages. Some of them came into the panel 3 years ago, some of them came in 2 years ago, and more of them have simply arrived on the scene this year. You know, Brendan Kelly now, who has come onto the senior team this year, this is Brendan's first year at senior inter-county level. He won a minor All-Ireland medal 4 years ago. The Pilkingtons arrived last year. Brian Whelan also arrived this year. The Pilkingtons arrived last year. The previous year it was Ryan Mannion and Dahi Regan and Michael Dignan. So, like, all in all, it's been a gradual introduction of the successful minor players for the last 4 years into the senior team.
Andy Gallagher's in charge of the training exercises, warming up and stretchings, followed by more rigorous work and talk. Several of these players got their hurling grounding at schools in Burr and Banagher, as we hear from great halfback Ger Coughlin.
A group of players came together at school level, and there was 7 or 8 of, say, the 1980 team who hurled at college level in the Presentation Brothers in Burr together, and I think we competed against Kieran's in a Leinster final, which was a very close affair, about 6 years previous to that. And I think it was really that really was the backbone of the team. We had 5 or 6 of that team hurling that day in the Leinster Colleges final.
It's great to see the young fellas playing well. Over the years, I suppose the older fellas now were the fellas that had to do the slogging in the game. So now it's nice to look up at the young fellas and they're performing. Brian Wheelahan, Ryan Mannion, the Pilkingtons, Brendan Kelly, so on. And hopefully they'll produce the same display next Sunday as they did against Kilkenny.
Well, after 11 finals, is the hunger still there for the game?
Well, somehow I think it's even more so, because you realise that it's very near. It's very near an end now, and when it's near an end, you treasure them all the more.
Dublin have proved all the year that they're a very competent team. They've done well in the league. They had 4 good wins at the start of the league, and we will by no means underestimate them. They have proved by beating Wexford, who many tipped to win the Leinster this year, that they're well capable of winning the Leinster title, and certainly we will not underestimate them, not by a long shot on Sunday.
Of the Leinster finals that we have played, it's the first time that we've met Dublin. And the hunger that was there with Offaly on occasions when we were in the Leinster final, I'm sure that hunger will be there with Dublin next Sunday. They will be very, very hungry to succeed and win a Leinster championship. The one thing that you've got to keep in the back of your minds the whole time, lads, is that it's going to be mighty tough. It's going to be a tough game. We're going to be hit with something next Sunday that we haven't experienced since our first Leinster final in 1980. So all I say is thanks for your attendance here tonight, lads, and we look forward to seeing you all on next Sunday.
But there's no doubt that when it comes to experience, Offaly will carry a huge advantage into tomorrow's final. Apart from their Leinster successes, Offaly have also appeared in 3 All-Ireland finals during the 80s, and they were winners in 2, 81 and 85. Dublin, by contrast, have nothing to compare with that. The last time they appeared in an All-Ireland final was in the early 60s. 1961 was the year, an era when Dublin was strong in both hurling and football, and this was the hurling team which met Tipperary in the All-Ireland final, losing agonisingly by only a single point.
Dublin continue to set the pace. Boozman to Croke. Croke to Shannon, and Dublin are 1 point ahead. And though Matt O'Gara equalised for Tipperary, Achill Boozman again gave Dublin the lead. The victory would now be won not only by stamina and skill, but above all, perhaps, through that little bit of luck which plays so important a part in all cup matches. And so, with sharpshooter Jimmy Doyle ever ready to turn a free into a certain score, Dame Fortune and the lead deserted Dublin. Jimmy stretches Tipperary's lead to 2 points, and this was just enough.
Dublin defeated in the All-Ireland final of nearly 30 years ago. But there's a direct link between that team and the present Dublin setup. Lar Foley, a member of the 61 side, is now the Dublin manager, while Mick Kennedy, another member from 61, is a Dublin selector. Well, Mick Kennedy is a member of the famous Fogs Club here in Dublin, and that's a club that many may have divided loyalties tomorrow. It has connections with both Dublin and Offaly. Apart from Mick Kennedy, 3 members of the Dublin team and 2 of the subs play their hurling with Fogs. And Daithí Regan, Offaly's centre half forward, is also a member of Fogs, along with 2 of the Offaly subs. Indeed, Regan will be marked tomorrow by Jim Ling, his clubmate. And it will be interesting, certainly, to see how that confrontation works out. Dublin's other selector, apart from Lar Foley and Mick Kennedy, is Sean Shanley. He comes from another well-known Dublin hurling nursery, the Crave Kieran Club in Donecarney, to where we paid a visit also during this week before the final.
It's estimated that 1/3 of the country's entire population lives in the greater Dublin area. Many of those people are sons and daughters of the country. But despite that fact, the traditional hurling skills of counties like Limerick, Tipperary, Clare, Cork don't seem to have travelled well to the capital. 1964 was the last time that Dublin were in the Leinster final. 1961 was the last time they actually won it. However, now Dublin are preparing for a return to the big time. The fact that they are making their way back is due to the loyal and dedicated efforts of small bands of support in the north of the county. And that's nowhere better exemplified than here in the parish of Donecarney.
Kieran Heatherton with point number 5. Going back to collect is Derek Finn. And a fine, lengthy clearance. Lovely hurling, switching play over to the far side. Chasing after that is the one, Murty Ryan. Going down on it. John O'Connor without a Hurley. And still Murty gets in his shot. And that would be a brilliant point. Oh, yes, indeed.
This North City suburb of Donecarney is dominated by the Crave Kieran club, and county selector Sean Shanley is conscious of the influence his club's had on the area.
Since we amalgamated with Crave Lure back in '62, there's always been a love for hurling in the area. We don't know why. There's been no great background apart from a few mentors from various counties, mainly Clare and Limerick, a few Tipperary men. They promoted hurling from an early age, started with road leagues, and we went on from there, and I suppose it was just the success of our hurling team. We won a Dublin Senior Championship in '71, and ever since that, hurling has been the predominant game in Donecarney.
It's also interesting in the sense that you are, relatively speaking, a fairly young club. You were only formed, what, during the 50s?
The school opened in '50, and it started from there with just juveniles. So '56, I'd say, was the foundation of the club. But we won junior championships in '64, hurling and football, and we've been in senior hurling ever since.
Well, Murty, you live in number 7, Kieran, you live in number 6, and Derek in number 11, and I'd say, Murty, there'd be great celebrating in this neighbourhood if Dublin win on Sunday.
There certainly will be. From the years down out this road, there's some good hurlers that are coming out of it, and I certainly say there will be a party or two on the road that night.
It's obvious, Kieran, from just looking at the kids play here around the green, that hurling is fanatically followed around here. It would mean an awful lot to this community if you won.
Yeah, it would. The fact that we're all from the one road, well, the 3 lads here, and to this community, it would mean a lot, because it's mainly a hurling area, this area. Not many footballers come over, but plenty of hurlers.
Derek, the fact that there are 3 of you living a few doors away from each other, all on the Dublin team, how did you all get involved in the team, and where did you start your hurling?
I think that mainly came from our primary school days with School Kieran. 2 men, Mr. Dunphy and my brother Murray. That's where we all started off, did our basics and just kept at it with the club.
Kieran, when you lads were growing up and when you were school kids, obviously the Dublin footballers were very much on the go, and Heffo's Army and all that. Were you not sort of tempted towards the football rather than hurling?
Well, we were a hurling area. Football, okay, was getting there, but we knew if we stuck at the hurling we could get there. And when we were being presented with medals when we were kids, we had the likes of Noel Ski and all that coming up, and they just said to us, stick at it, and that's what we've done, and now we've got the breakthrough, and hopefully we can do as well as the hurlers, or as the footballers.
When we were there, Division 2, Dublin hurling, it was hard stuff. It was a couple of years ago, but I think since Lar took over the team, a lot of things have changed in the game, how we approach our game now, and in what style and ever with the game. He's a very hard man, and if he says right is right, it's right, and that's the end of it.
He's a bit of a Jack Charlton, is he?
He is at that, yeah. Very like Jack Charlton. And he says something, you jump and do it. And that's the way we've all worked together as a team now at the moment.
Well, Kieran, it'll be very much a case of Lars Army next Sunday anyway. Do you think you can beat Offaly?
We can beat Offaly if we play as well as we did against Wexford. Close them down, don't give them any room at all, and if we take off our scores, we only missed, I think, 4 chances against Wexford, and we need that again on Sunday to get there, you know. So hopefully we can do it anyway.
We have a good spirit of hurling in Donecarney, but a win and to become Leinster champions and to go on to an All-Ireland semi-final would be marvellous, you know.
Early evening now as Kieran, Murty and Derek, the 3 neighbours from Clanmoyle Road, keep an appointment with Sean Shanley, whose family has celebrated connections with Leitrim football and were instrumental in the formation of the Crave Kieran club. But Sean now concentrates on Dublin hurling as he ferries his 3 clubmates to a training session. The training's been undertaken at Belcamp College grounds under the direction of Liam Moggan, who's got the players to a stage in the days before the provincial final that's pleased their manager, Lar Foley.
We're delighted with our preparation so far. Everything is going grand, the players are in good form, and even the weather is with us.
Well, there seems to be a good, positive mood around the training here tonight, Lars. So obviously you're looking forward to this clash with Offaly.
Well, there's a tremendous attitude among the players, and that's something that I think was everyone will admit might have been missing before in Dublin hurling teams, you know. But we're looking forward to the match against Offaly. There's no question of doubt about that. More because it's a long time, Michael, since Dublin were in a final. And it's a change. And I don't think there's any exponent of hurling in the country that wouldn't say it's a welcome change.
MJ, of course, you're a Kilkenny man and hurled with the county. Did you ever envisage a situation where you'd be playing for Dublin in the Leinster final?
Well, not till I started playing club hurling in Dublin, and then in '85 when I played championship, I was always hopeful we would get to a Leinster final, and we're there now.
It's a great honour to captain this team for the first time in 26 years, and we're hoping that this is the final breakthrough for us. We've had a couple of years when we've been knocking on the door, and we're hoping that this is the year.
There's a new awareness to preparing teams now, and even if we don't have the players, if we stick to the programme, I don't think we're going to be as long again that without success. This is completely new to every single one of those players. They've never been on Croke Park Leinster final day at any grade. So therefore, I'm not expecting an awful lot from them in terms of, you know, are we going to go out and demolish Offaly? People would be wanting to think that. No, I would be hoping that if we give a good account of ourselves and keep putting the jigsaw pieces together that we've laid out, then our pattern, the pattern that we're following, will come to fruition someday. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I think it'll come someday.
Well, now, you're a Fogs man, and there's a connection between Dublin in the Leinster final and Offaly, because some of the Offaly players are involved in your club. So I'd say there must have been a bit of ribbing over the last couple of weeks.
There was a bit, but Dahi and Timmy are very cocky at the moment, so we hope to bring them down.
Well, Dahi Regan, of course, of Offaly, the centre forward, will be marked by Jim Ling, another Fogs man. That'll be interesting.
Oh, it will, yeah, but I still put my money on Jim.
Why do you think this team has made the breakthrough?
I think it's down to a number of reasons, and I think the main one is that they've worked hard. It's been reasonably, you know, the same amount of fellas are here for the last couple of years, and they just worked that hard and they've kept at it, and we've got this far now.
Well, obviously, Lar, it would be nice if things were to come right this Sunday.
It would be tremendous for hurling in Dublin in particular, and mostly for the people that have been very loyal followers of Dublin hurling. There's been some tremendous supporters of Dublin hurling throughout the years, and I was delighted to see us getting a small success so that they could at least cheer about something.
Well, the news from the Dublin camp as they prepare for their big day against Offaly. There is, don't forget, another provincial hurling final on tomorrow. That's the Ulster final at Casement Park between Antrim and Down. Down, who beat Derry in the semi-final, have apparently prepared very diligently for this match. But still, it would be more than a surprise if they were to beat an Antrim side which made its